Welcome to our Thursday, edition of our Government Information Center. And today we are having the topic that is looking into labor and employment distresses in Namibia. We do have two panelists in the studio that will be assisting us to discuss this particular topic. But before we get to that, we would like to call on Dr. Peya Mushelenga to please give us the cabinet briefing for this week. Good afternoon, Doctor. How are you?
Yes, good afternoon, and good afternoon, viewers and listeners. I'm going to read decisions of the 7th cabinet meeting that was held on the 10th of May this year. First decision. Report of Namibia's participation in the 2020 Antalya Diplomacy Forum, ADF, held from the 11th to the 13th of March 2022 in Antalya, Turkey. Cabinet took note of the above-mentioned report and directed the following ministries to take action in their areas of responsibility as follows. Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation, to facilitate a visit of the Palestinian Foreign Affairs Minister to Namibia in order to strengthen the relations between the two countries and solidify the existing solidarity, which will in return create opportunities for more engagement in the future. Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, in collaboration with the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board, to facilitate the Turkey-Namibia Business Council's visit to Namibia. Second decision, signing of the agreement establishing the interim joint operating rules in respect of the Kalweke scheme. Cabinet took note of the agreement and authorized the signing of this agreement to establish interim joint operating rules in respect of the Kalweke schemes. And Cabinet directed the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation to prepare the signing of powers of the above-mentioned agreement. Third decision, 2020-2021 Annual Report of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform. Cabinet took note of the above-mentioned annual report and authorized the Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform to table the said report in the National Assembly. Fourth decision, 2020-2021 Annual Report of the Namibia Deposit Guarantee Authority. Namibia took note of the above-mentioned annual report and authorized the Minister of Finance to table the said report in the National Assembly. 2020-2021 Annual Report and Financial Statements for Namibia National Insurance Corporation. Cabinet took note of the said annual report and financial statements and authorized the Minister of Finance to table it in the National Assembly. Here ends Cabinet briefings. I wish you a blessed rest of the day, and we wish our founding father, Dr. Sam Nujoma, a happy 93rd birthday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor, and also thank you to Dr. Mushelenga for doing the honors for us in presenting that wish of blessings to our founding father and former President Sam Nujoma on his 93rd birthday. As we said, the topic this afternoon is looking into labor and employment distresses in Namibia, and in the studio this afternoon I have two panelists, and they are representing the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation. That is our Honorable Minister, Honorable Uthoni Nuyoma. Good afternoon, and thank you for being with us this afternoon, Minister.
Thank you. Most welcome.
And we also have our Acting Executive Director from the said ministry, that is Ms. Lydia Indomba. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon, listeners.
As we all know that we usually have our COVID update, but we will be giving that out a little bit later on as we receive it. Continuing with this afternoon, I'd like to start off with our minister. What is the mandate of the Ministry of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation, and its role in the creation and preservation of employment in Namibia?
Thank you very much, moderator. I should say that the mandate of the ministry is enshrined from the Namibian Constitution, which is to ensure that Namibia enjoys harmonious labor relations and full employment. The harmonious labor relations that we aim to achieve and maintain cannot be done in isolation, but can only be achieved in collaboration with other stakeholders, especially our social partners, that is, employers and employees' representatives. It should be noted that from the onset, that the ministry is not there to create employment, but rather to coordinate. I should repeat, the ministry mandate is not to create employment, but rather to coordinate job creation efforts. Thus, the ministry came up with the Namibia Employment Information System, popularly known as NIES, which is supposed to be a part of the employment linkage between employers and job seekers. Now, you ask me the mandate of the ministry. The ministry derives in its mandate from Article 95 of the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia, which provides for the promotion of the welfare of the people. And it is implemented through the following acts of Parliament: the Labour Act of 2007, Act number 11 of 2007, the Affirmative Action Employment Act of 1998, Act number 29 of 1998, the Social Security Act of 1994, Act number 34 of 94, and the Employment Services Act, number 8 of 2011. The ministry has also operational documents such as regulations, policies, and plans aligned to the high-level documents of the country NDPs. For example, NDP 5 and Vision 2030, strategic plans, HHP 2, Harambee Prosperity Plan 2, and of course the SWAPO Manifesto play also a very important part. And our vision is to create a productive nation with its workforce that is enjoying harmonious industrial relations, decent work, and full employment. Yeah, now I have been saying this. Article 95 of the Namibian Constitution was specifically crafted to ensure that the government must promote the welfare of the workers. Coming from a background of brutal colonialism and apartheid. And therefore, the Constitution is heavily tilted in favor of the workers, so that we do not repeat the same mistakes that has, you remember we had a brutal contract system where people from the north must register, searched, humiliated, work in farms, some killed and thrown to the pigs. So I should say the people of the north have tremendously contributed to the development of this country. Because they are the ones that have built the infrastructure that we have here through hard labor, minimum salaries, sometimes not even salaries. We have some people are still alive today, those who came through Okaholo. My father, Andimba Toivo, many SWAPO veterans, humiliated daily. When I was growing up as a child, I could see how the police were going from house to house, looking for so-called illegal contract workers or people from the other neighboring town. We have a notorious system that was the pass law. If you are found in town after 7, immediately you are arrested and beaten, thrown in detention. As a little boy, I visited my family in Windhoek there. Police came during the night. They raided the house of my mother's sister. She called me to come for the weekend. I was arrested, thrown in a van. So that's how the brutal system was in this country. Therefore, the mandate is, you must also remember that we do not have the means of production. As a government, we have achieved our political independence. Now we are striving for the economic independence. And I must say today, congratulations, Comrade President, you have launched the Sovereign Wealth Fund today. And I think that is a big move, is a milestone for Africa, so that we try to preserve the little resources that we have for future generation, and not to exploit them ourselves only. So that is a major achievement, and congratulations, Comrade President. I also want to congratulate my own father, Dr. Sam Nujoma, on his 93rd birthday. And I also want to congratulate the nurses. Today is Nurses Day. The people who have been at the front line during this devastating COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Shangula and his team, and particularly the nurses, they have been inspired by people like Florence Nightingale and many others, not Indira Gandhi, the Indian, those are, Mahatma Gandhi, and many others.
Yeah.
So it is a big day today. So I'm happy to speak to the Namibian nation and to inform them of the challenges that we face as a country.
Yeah.
But we must remember the struggle, as we were saying, for political independence was because you could identify the enemy, shoot, but now we have the invisible enemy.
Yeah.
And the struggle is going to not be easy because we do not own the means of production.
Yeah. Ms. Ndombo, sorry, we would like to find out from you. The past 2 years have seen huge waves of job losses. Is the ministry in a position of statistics that can give a more accurate reflection on the number of people that have lost jobs in the past 2 years?
Thank you for the question. Yes, the ministry has got statistics of how many people or workers have been laid off, retrenched, or possibly just sent home. And I must say that this number is not an actual number, because what happens is that the Labour Act requires that all employers who wishes to retrench workers, they should notify the Office of the Labour Commissioner to indicate to them that they wish to retrench a certain number because of one reason or another. But then the Act did not go further and say it obliges those employers to actually give the actual number after they have followed the criteria that they are using to retrench or lay off or terminate employment. So what the number that we have is quite high, because it's a public information and we have been sending it out through our quarterly report. And it's about 16,000 as we are speaking from 2020 to 2022 March. But then, as I said, the actual number, we do not have it because we are not obliged to have it. But that number is available. We can make it available on to our journalists, to any person that is looking for information, because it's supposed to be consumed by the public, and more especially the workers and the employers.
Okay, thank you for that one.
I would also like to add there
Yes.
that you may recall that this country is facing a serious economic challenge. We had the commodity prices that has dropped, our uranium, our gold, and so on. And soon afterwards, while we were battling with that, we had a serious drought for 7 years that almost devastated the agricultural sector. And while we were busy trying to recover, we were now attacked by this serious pandemic, COVID-19. It is serious, it has affected our industries.
Yeah.
And as a result, those figures that are coming there. Yeah, so many companies, as I speak, they are closed. I used to see motor companies here, you go everywhere, they are closed, people are losing jobs. Worse than that, then we have the Ukrainian conflict that is ravaging. As a result, commodity prices are going up right into the roof. The workers feel the pinch because prices are rising daily. Basic foods are very expensive. Hence the developments that we see, people taking advantage of the vulnerable positions of our workers, trying to incite them, but forgetting that we have gone through a 4 cycle that has affected seriously our businesses. So we have to take note of that.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you very much, Minister. And staying with unemployment and job losses, are there any counter initiatives that the ministry has implemented to fight the growing unemployment rate?
Yes, the ministry, as I said, we are an employment coordination ministry.
Yeah.
We are not an economic ministry. I want to make it clear today. Economic ministries are the Ministry of Works and Transport, Agriculture, all of them, you can name them, that are given the resources to create employment opportunities for Namibia. And our task is to coordinate that activity. As I said, I talked about the NIES, Namibia Integrated Information System, that the ministry runs, where we register unemployed graduates, where we register job seekers, and we have placed these people, some of them in their workplaces, and we will encourage Namibians who are seeking for jobs to register with this system. No, the efforts are there. They say to build, Rome was not built in one day. It is, you don't build the little nest with one, you build it with one straw at a time. So it is an effort that requires all of us, the government, the employers, particularly the employers, also to assist government. We had challenges in the fishing sector. Right now we have challenges in the mining sector, and you have seen yourself the clips that are running, people inciting workers, security workers not to go to work, declaring that today is a holiday, go into ShopRite and take whatever, which is an incitement to violence.
Yeah.
So, and also I want to mention that we have lost in the country that I have mentioned here, our constitution. Political parties have taken an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia in Parliament there. And we have the Labor Act that requires trade unions to register with the Office of the Labor Commissioner. that requires trade unions to be bargaining agents with employers. And now we see that these people are just moving from one sector to another, inciting workers, flouting the laws of the Republic of Namibia. Some of them even flouting bail condition, traveling to other places while they were supposed to be confined here in Windhoek. So you don't build a nation with such reckless attitudes.
Okay. Ms. Ndombo, we would like to find out from you, there is this issue of increasing an increasing unemployment graduates rate. What is the ministry doing to address it? Are there any stakeholders that have approached the ministry to assist with this problem? If yes, who are some of these stakeholders?
Thank you for the question. The ministry is coordinating employment, like what the minister has alluded to. What we have done, if I may share with the nation, last year, we had collaboration with the National Youth Service, where we have asked them to identify youth, unemployed youth, so that we take them on internship for 6 months. And then they were deployed at some ministries, at constituency offices throughout the country, and we were able to at least give them something that we call an allowance on a monthly basis. And as I said, it was a 6-month internship period, and that has ended, but it has added something to their CV to actually indicate that they have gotten experience, work experience that they can use when they apply for employment. That's one. And at the same time, the ministry is serving in a committee that is spearheaded by the Ministry of Higher Education that is looking at the issue of internship program within the whole country to come up with the framework so that graduates are taken care of to be deployed somewhere to gain experience and be able to be available and available for employment, and that they can be competitive when they are required to undergo interviews. I must also maybe share with the nation that the Harambee Prosperity Plan that the President is spearheading, it's a pro-employment national plan because it has identified project that has potential to create employment. Now, these projects are in other sectors, like how the minister have earlier indicated, to say that there are economic sectors like energy, agriculture, fisheries, those green and blue economies. They have those projects that we have been hearing on national radio, on national television, that they have potential to create employment, and they are talking of some numbers. The year one of Harambee Prosperity Plan, it was for planning, and we are looking forward to at least share with the nation after some time as to how many jobs has been created. And this, everything here is done through the Investment Promotion and Development Board that has been appointed to look at issue of attracting investors to Namibia. Our duty is to actually make sure that the law of the country are in place and they are very favorable, and that they are attracting investors to create employment. And the workers must then be available to produce and make sure that they produce more so that the employer expand on the businesses.
Okay. Well said. Thank you very much, Ms. Ndombo.
I also want to add there
Yes,
that we have entered into partnership, as you know, the Social Security Commission. They have an investment fund.
Yeah.
And we were seriously concerned with the unemployed graduates, that health graduates and others. And we have launched an initiative with the Office of the Prime Minister to make available a certain amount of money so that all these people get a second chance to be trained. We have a serious challenge. Some countries, you know, jurisdictions are different.
Yeah.
For example, to qualify as a doctor in China, they require 5 years. And here in Namibia, they require 6 years. So if a student finalizes her studies in China through whatever program, they need to be assisted so that they can also reach the 6 years, so that when they come here, they have practice. But those are the things, they are not so many. We want to have a look at that and see that we assist our students. Some of them who were displaced in this unfortunate conflict of Russia versus Ukraine, some of them need also assistance. So we are seriously discussing with the Social Security Commission, because we have the investment fund that is lying there. Maybe we can also make use of these funds to help our graduates.
Yeah. Those are very good initiatives there, and really one would strongly hope that other stakeholders would actually also come on board to try and assist in this particular matter. As they say, our graduates are actually our future. Those that are in the workforce right now will at some point need to be replaced, and they need to be replaced by a capable collective of graduates. And this topic is a national one, and we invite you to add your voice to the conversation. You can call us, and our call-in line 061 is the area code. The number is 400-397, 400-397. We are also on social media platforms through which we are live streaming this particular session. And on Facebook, you can find us on Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia. That is on Facebook. You can find us there at Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia. We are also on the YouTube platform, and our handle there is MICT Namibia, MICT Namibia. While we wait for you to give us your contributions, we would like to pose another question to our Honourable Minister. And this one basically speaks to what the nation is saying, the word on the street. The ministry has lately been accused to be toothless in the wake of issues of labour disputes and unfavourable working conditions, which has seemingly fueled the rise of confrontations between pressure groups or political groups or parties and employers on behalf of workers. Some say that the current government of the day has no political will to fight for the betterment of the Namibian worker. What would you like to say to this?
I don't think that is a true statement of facts, because we have, when there are disputes, they are referred to the Office of the Labour Commissioner for conciliation, and if they fail there, then the matter can be referred to arbitration at the Labour Court. But what we do, we have tried to intervene. You may recall the issue of Shoprite that affected the whole country. We were instrumental in those negotiations. It took us 3 weeks, me and my ED here, sitting day and night with those employers. And we have finally managed to reach an agreement. But because we are a coordinating ministry, we let NAFAO to make the announcement. So people think that we are doing nothing. Secondly, we have the issue of dispute there at the Husab uranium mine. It's a very important investment in Namibia. We have quietly tried to encourage the parties to reach agreement. And as I'm speaking, I was informed that there is a possibility that they could have signed that agreement today, and I will be happy if that has happened.
Okay.
There are also other institutions, for example, the security industry that is crying, and we are engaged with the security companies. Yes, there are challenges. Sometimes security companies are also saying they are not paid in time, and as a result, it has this reaction that the people will not be paid in time. Yeah, we also had Namib had a serious problem. They came to the ministry. We sat for days trying with the unions, and we told them, colleagues, sometimes we are unreasonable. Namib is technically bankrupt. You cannot suck blood out of a rock. If a company is technically bankrupt, you are asking for an increase of salaries. So sometimes we also need to be realistic. Yeah, we have the workers, but you must also take note. Namibia is not highly industrialized. We have the fishing industry, construction, but those few industries, we need also to keep them and try to preserve them so that at least the people have something, as a table on bread on the table.
On the table, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
No, well said. I think it's understandable that sometimes things are happening on the background that people are not necessarily aware of.
We work quietly sometimes. Yeah, and we want our unions to be the ones that announce, so that they get the publicity.
Okay.
Although we have intervened there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ms. Indombo, yes.
Yes.
I can also then add on to...
Just before we take on that addition there, Ms. Indombo, we've got Beata from Mwambu on the line. Good afternoon, Beata. How are you? Hello, Beata. How are you this afternoon? Okay, while we wait for Beata to call us back, I think we lost that line. We would like to engage Ms. Indombo on that addition that you wanted to make.
Yes, I also just wanted to emphasize that we do not just say react when this pressure group came, but our ministry has got annual plan. We look at what is that we are going to do in a financial year. We, from the labor inspection division and directorate, we actually look at the sectors that we would want to investigate and inspect as to whether they are meeting the condition, basic condition of employment, the issue of occupational health and safety, and the issue of employment equity. And then we go out there and inspect and do some follow-ups. But then when the employer is not adhering to the recommendation we make, then we act. It's not that we are just quiet. And I must also indicate that the ministry has recovered in 2021-2022 financial year about 3 million on behalf of the complainant through this inspection and through complaints that are launched at our ministry. And we have given those money from the employer to our account, and then we transmit it to the beneficiaries. And when these people are assisted, they keep quiet, and those that have problems, they will come out and say the ministry is not doing much. But talking of 3 million just to get it through 500, 5,000, 6,000 like that, it's quite a lot of money, and it has changed lives in Namibia.
Sorry for interrupting them, Ms. Indombo. We've got Fiena on the line. Let us just quickly take her on. Good afternoon, Fiena. How are you? Hello, Fiena.
Hello.
How are you this afternoon? Welcome to our session.
I'm all right. How are you?
We are well. How would you like to contribute this afternoon?
I just want to participate in the Labor Day, and I just want to touch on the unions as well.
Okay.
And in the workers' problem, the workers is really now betrayed, and it seems that the union is not doing anything. I was listening to Mr. Job when he said to NUW on the May Day, and he could not even give any right answer when he was being asked by the representative. So myself, I was a trade unionist for 30 years. I also built up that union. Bakau was our first union. And for me, it's very much painful to see how the workers is destroyed. The union really must take up the socks and be there for the workers. Even me myself, I'm out of that union, but still the heart is there for workers because it's us to deal with that workers. I just want to add on the honorable who was talking about how the workers was, in the old days, people was fighting and was also in the prison. I was the same. I was also there when we was destroyed by the regime in the old days. But now if you are seeing that the union, that time we was walking by sea to recruit the workers. There was no transport, there was no money, there was no food. Still was the late John Pandemic, the John Crazy and Peter Ilonga, all those other people. Johnny Nakuru, all those people. But now you can see the workers is faithful. And the union really not mean anything at all.
Yeah.
You find cases in the labor, in the labor court, who's there for many years, but there's nothing to the workers did not even get the payout. Nothing at all. I really also put to the honorable, the Minister of Labor, please. You can call me and I can also help if there's any help to be done there.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for partaking in our session this afternoon, Fiena. I think with Fiena, it's just airing her disappointment and how workers are being treated. And based on what she said, if we understood her correctly, it's her request and her humble plea for unions to pull up their socks in their representation for the workers in Namibia. Ms. Ndombo, we would like to also just ask a question with regards to these pressure groups. What has actually the ministry been...
Can I also comment on what Fiena said?
Yes.
Yes, I agree with Mrs. Fiena there. We have also realized it is a concern to government that our unions are getting weaker and weaker by the day. And as a result, other forces are coming in to confuse the workers more. We are seriously concerned. And we would like also the unions now to pull up their socks. And also, I've talked about the Labor Act of 2007. They should also comply with the requirements of the labor law. For example, by filing returns to the Office of the Labor Commission, and also to have their congresses timely.
Yeah.
Because the workers need to be represented. But if perpetually you don't comply with your own constitution, it creates problems.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, so all these other elements, opportunists would like to take advantage of that. And that's why we are ready to assist where we can, so that we can talk with our colleagues in the trade unions that we need to comply with the requirements of the law.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Minister. We've got Anytime on the line who would also like to partake in this afternoon session. He's calling us from Tsumeb. Good afternoon, Anytime. How are you?
Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
We are well. How would you like to add your voice to the session?
Thank you. I wish I could be there. Also part of the panel there.
Okay.
This is a very critical topic under discussion when you talk about the labor-related issues. That is directed to the workers. I think, Honorable Minister, I honor you and I respect you. Let me greet you and also the other panel and the nation at large. On the People's Parliament, in the media, the outcry is just all about the labor-related, outcries. Now, if the Honorable Minister says that the well-being of the workers, I don't know. We have issues like minimum wages that are not addressed. We have the issues of dismissals, unsaid dismissals from workplaces, different companies, unaddressed. We have also issues of indicated that the price, the commodity, whatever price increases, whereby the government itself, as a representative of the government, is turning a blind eye on the salary increments of the civil servants. that can accommodate the well-being of the civil servants. Now, how does he address these issues? Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will pose the question to the Honourable Minister.
Okay.
Have a good day anytime. And there we have
Thank
it.
you, caller. I didn't get the name, but...
Anytime is his name.
Yeah, so I thank you very much for your comments. Salary negotiations are ongoing between NABU and the government, the bargaining unit that is recognized by the employer, that is the government. And these negotiations are ongoing. We are trying our level best, and also to make it clear to the people that it is better to take your salary every month rather than seeking increases. Later on, we may default and not be able to pay. It is a prudent measure that the Ministry of Finance is saying. The situation, as I said, it is because of those challenges, COVID-19, commodity prices that has not been delivering as we thought it will be, the drought and so many other things. So we ask our people also to be reasonable. That this is a committed government representing the interest of the people. We do not want to default on our commitments, and therefore we ask the unions to be also prudent and to listen what we are saying. But as I said, these negotiations are ongoing.
Okay.
Yes.
We've got Mwambu from Roshpinah. Good afternoon, Mwambu. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Yes. How would you like to add your voice to the conversation this afternoon?
Yes, I have one or 2 points that I want to add on the panel there. First of all, I would like to say thank you to the Honourable Minister and to all the people in the panel there and to the listener out there in Namibia. So first of all, I would like to applaud the Minister of Labour for what they have done for Cheetah Summit. That is what we are expecting a Minister of Labour to act when things of work issues are not done correctly. That they must assist also the Namibian workers and also to face the employer, that they must do the right thing. So the concern that I want to raise this afternoon is that Minister of Labour, really they need to assist the union. I'm hearing the unions being mentioned there in the panel, that they are not doing that. To be honest, the union, they are doing their best to make sure that the workers are well taken care of and well compensated. But the problem is that sometimes the employers are not willing to comply. So let me base my point on this issue of arbitration or dispute at work and so on. For instance, a case of arbitration, I do not know whether the Minister of Labour, they lack staff or not. Because you find that an unfair treatment at the working area, you file all the necessary documents to take it up. But then this arbitrator of Minister of Labour, they are always not there. You find a case take 3 years to be concluded. You know, that is also very stressing and worrisome. Remember that when you file your case, sometimes you will not get job somewhere because you need to wait for your case. What will you eat in that period you are waiting for your case to be heard? And the other issue is that you find some companies are challenging the government to the extent that you go to High Court and so forth. You know what I'm trying to say here is that Minister of Labour must put up a minimum period of waiting to finish the court cases, because we cannot be pushed and be put to wait for so long like that. That's all what I would like to contribute this afternoon.
Okay, no, that's a fair contribution. Thank you very much, Mwambu, for that contribution. He's calling us from Roshpinah, and I'm not sure whether the ED would like to take on that comment or...
Yes, I am able to comment on that. Yes, the ministry is constrained in terms of human resources. If I may share with the nation, the staff complements the structure of the ministry, make provision for 649 positions, but only 352 that are filled. And these are filled by staff members that are at head office, and those that are also in the region throughout the whole country. You will find that there are 1 or 2 or 3 staff members at one of the regions, say Roshpinah in Karas region, or maybe in Oshikoto region there are just 4. It's because we do not have funds to fill those positions. Once perhaps the economy stabilizes and we have funds available, we'll be able to resource the structure and make sure that issues of labor and employment in the country are handled. But for now, let's do with what we have, and we are trying our level best. And this is not only for arbitrators, it is also for labor inspectors for condition of employment, and it's also for inspector for industry that are dealing with occupational health and safety, especially the one that deals with the issue of cheta. So all in all, it's staff shortage, and we are really trying. But the nation, I know that they do not want to hear that, but we must just tell them the truth to say we are constrained.
Yeah, yeah. Honorable Minister,
maybe I should also add that he mentioned that the Labour Commissioner there, the cases take long. It is true, we know, but we are also looking at the amendments of the Labour Act. We will soon table that in the nearby future. Some amendments where, you see, when you go for arbitration, the employers, because they are in an advantageous position, they have the best lawyers. And the unions, some members are not paid up, they are struggling. And as a result, it becomes too costly for the unions. Yeah. It's also one of those stumbling blocks. We are a third world country, having adopted constitution, the best constitution, as they say, ratified the ILO convention, almost all of them. They require us within the tripartite arrangement to follow the procedures as provided for. Okay. And those are some of the constraints. Yeah. Yes.
No, that's understandable. I think sometimes there's more elements that play a role in how something takes place, that not everybody is really aware of the interlinked characteristics. And when we have an issue, we sometimes tend to just look at one side of the sphere without necessarily taking into account all the particular elements that are needed to be in place for something to actually take an action to be taken in a particular direction that is more favorable to the outcry of the people. We've got a social media comment here, and it is coming from Konja Joseph. And Konja is saying, has the exemption of Swakop uranium been finalized? It's a simple question. Has the exemption of Swakop uranium been finalized? I'll pose the question to both of you.
Well, we have encouraged the parties to continue negotiating until they reach an agreement. And I'm informed they were supposed to sign today. I'm still waiting for a feedback. Yeah. But we are encouraging them. Yeah. This is a very sophisticated mine. It deals with uranium. Some machineries need to run. You cannot stop them. So, but this issue of exemption will be considered within the ambit of the Labour Act. Yeah. We cannot divert from the Labour Act, what it's prescribed.
Okay.
I also want to add on, just to say, when we are saying it is going to be considered, it should either be favorable or not favorable. But the other information that I want to share with the viewers that pose the question is to say, if he or she is a member of the union that is involved at the uranium, they usually get briefings, and the union is able to give the status as to where they are up to date. For us, we rely on what we get from the employers and the workers' negotiations.
Okay, now that's well stated. Staying with Ms. Indombo, we would like to find out from your experience with labor matters, working within the ministry, do you believe that the unions are actually doing everything that they should be doing to work in the interest of the Namibian worker?
Yes, I believe that the union is doing what they can with the resources that they have. Because if the union are not doing anything, it means they cease to exist. So all what I can say is the union is trying, but I think the workers should be organized very well, and that they registered in those unions, and that they can be assisted through a proper structure. But if they are not organized, they do not have structures to be assisted, it might be a challenge. Yeah. And if the unions are not receiving membership fees, it means they might not just be able to do simple work just to represent a worker.
No, that's fair. Honorable Minister, there is an issue that has arisen of late, especially in not just our country. With our country, I think it's a bit more on the mild side, but it's something that is being aired strongly in the SADC region, and that is the whole issue of foreign labor within a country. Now, our question is, what is the ministry currently doing in implementing or in the implementation of better policies that address the loopholes in the labor market when it comes to foreign employers and employees?
Yes, we have the stakeholder ministries that are involved in the issuing of visas and work permits and so on. The Ministry of Labor is represented there by the Equity Commissioner, and we have the Ministry of Home Affairs, we have safety and security, and so many other stakeholders, employers. The unions are also represented there, so that they can also guide. But our ministry responsibility is to make sure that we scrutinize those applications and make sure that the skills that these people are purporting to have are available first in Namibia before we allow others to come in. But there has been some loopholes which have been exploited, but we are closing them continuously. I have signed several rejections of those type of people, where we say we have adequate skills in Namibia. And we will continue to do it, but we want to work with our stakeholders also, the employers, the unions, so that they assist us as well. Yeah, so we are aware of that challenge, and we are working very hard on that one to make sure that all the stakeholders of government, the private sector, they are represented there.
Okay.
Yes.
No, thank you very much. Time is not always on our side, and as we are reaching the end of our session this afternoon, we would like to find out from Ms. Indombo. Are the workers aware of the avenues accorded to them by the Labour Act with regards to lodging of complaints with district labour courts if they feel aggrieved? Or do you believe that more needs to be done in the creation of awareness? If yes, what are some of the activities that the ministry is planning to use in creating this awareness?
I must say that most of the workers are aware of the structures that is available, but I must also say that a lot need to be carried out. What we have started as of last year, toward the middle of the year. We have started to issue out media release. We have gone to talk shows, radio. We have also gone to national televisions to talk about the work of the ministry. We have also something that we call labor at work, where we interview our own arbitrator, our own labor inspectors, our own staff members, just to talk about the work of the ministry and provision of the Act. Of recent, say from March, February this year, we have also started just going into the real Act and say section or say chapter 2. Chapter 2 is talking about perhaps fundamental rights. What is that? We have to unpack that, and we have been doing that. Now, as of this month, we are starting to go out to road shows throughout the country. We are trying to reach out to all the regions, and we also want to use our own officials in the regions and those of other ministry that are available to join us in an effort to educate the nation in terms of their basic fundamental rights. And we believe by doing so and issuing all these articles in the government corners, in the New Era newspapers, and we also go to radio, and we also have the Division of Counseling and Career. They go out to schools and explain to these learners. So by doing all those things and inviting our stakeholder and social partners to join us, we will be able to actually reach out to the high numbers than what we have already been doing.
Okay. Now, with that said, we are coming, or we have, pardon me, come to the end of our session for this afternoon. Labor matters will never end, because employment will never end. But it is of high importance for us to try and ensure that we do what we need to do within the confines of our constitutions in order to respect each other's rights. But also, we need to ensure that we form proper bodies, which is the umbrellas of unions, to ensure that we have strong bodies that fight for the rights of us as Namibian workers. At this point, I'd like to thank our Honourable Minister Utoni Nuyoma for making his time available to us to be able to engage us on this particular topic. And equally, we would like to thank Ms. Lydia Indombo, who is the Acting Executive Director within that ministry currently, for also making her presence felt here on our platform. Thank you very much to the both of you. As we say, these are platforms that we use to engage and as well to educate each other. From myself, Shianwa Desire Kahiha, as well as my production crew, bye-bye. Thank you very much.